This is the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast, and I'm your host, Trudy Simmons from the Daisy Chain Group, providing platforms for women entrepreneurs to be seen and heard. This platform is for women entrepreneurs that want to hear the real stories of what it takes to be yourself and run a business with all the different hats that you might have to wear. These are the stories of the tenacious, the rebellious, and the resilient women that are working towards the future that they want to build for themselves and their families. Hello and welcome to the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast from the Shine On You Crazy Daisy book volume 2. And today I am so excited to introduce you to Samantha Leith from Samantha Leith International. Sam, I am thrilled and excited to have you here. Thank you so much for doing this. Tell us about
my absolute pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about your business.
So my business is primarily speaking and coaching, and I like to say it's personal development, but not as you know it.
Ooh.
So I work a lot on people with confidence and charisma, helping them to just be more extraordinary. So everyone thinks you've got to have like this special something to have X factor, and I believe they're teachable skills.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. What was really brilliant about your chapter is you touched on so many big subjects, but one of them was that voice in your head that was telling you to have something sensible to fall back on. And knowing you a bit, I can't imagine this, but what had you done to that point that you felt like you had to have something sensible to fall back on?
It wasn't just the voice in my head, it was the voice from others around me. So I started singing professionally. I got paid my first time when I was 6, and that kind of kept going. But while I was like singing in bars and at in front of 20,000 people at dance parties and touring with MC Hammer, people would go, you've got to have something sensible, you've got to have something sensible. So I became an accountant. And it just, like, I was always very nesty. Like I was a white picket fencey kind of person. Like I never wanted to be the broke musician living in a share house with a TV on a milk crate. So I always had that sensible thing in the background, whether it was a sales role or accounting, or it was always just something else because I had to, do the sensible thing.
Yeah. It's just knowing you and having watched you for years and years, the fact that that is your fallback, it never ceases to surprise me. It really does.
It's pretty bonkers.
One of the things that you said in the chapter really hit me was you mentioned being a people pleaser trapped in chains of servitude.
Yep.
What did that feel like, and what did it teach you when you could realize that and look back on it?
It was a kind of a gradual process. I thought being a people pleaser just meant I was really helpful, and I was doing good for other people. And I didn't realize that when you're a people pleaser, it's kind of caught up in this web of lies. Like you're not honest with yourself, you're not honest with other people, you're not doing them any favors at all. And it hit me that I did feel trapped a lot, because I would go to do something and I would think, I can't say that to them because that'll upset them, but I really, really don't want to go to the movie. Oh, shit, I'm going to have to go to the movies. And then there'd be this resentment that would build up, and it was all consuming and quite heavy, feeling all those things all the time. And one of the things that kind of helped me get out of it was realizing that a lot of the things I thought I was doing out of love, I was doing actually out of significance. So if I was being a people pleaser and kind of cavorting myself into this, cavorting is not the right word, contortioning myself into do things to help people, I thought I was doing because I loved them and I cared and I wanted to help. But I think I just wanted the significance of them needing me to help them, or I've sacrificed my afternoon to go to the movies for you kind of thing. And these things were never discussed. Like, it's not like you have the conversation with the person, but it's just while you're doing it, it just like nibble at you all day long. And you actually got to the point where you don't know if you're saying yes to something because you want to say yes to it, or because it's just that you're trapped in this loop of always doing it.
When you came out of that, or how did you have that realization and then when you made a decision to change it, was it a conscious decision from this day forward, I will not do it? Or was it a rolling learning that kept coming and kept coming?
Really gradual, still learning. And it was really little things that helped me do it, like putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. And if there was an invitation, my gut reaction would be yes, and then I'd be like, oh, I don't want to go, and then I'd feel I'd have to explain my way out of why I couldn't go and apologize and make it that I was just this terrible person because I wasn't going to be able to go. And I don't know who I heard it from first. I've probably heard it a gazillion times, but I just started saying, unfortunately, I can't, or no. And so I'm still learning. I'm really, really still learning, but it's just those tiny steps. I think a couple of times I tried to go, that's it, it's all about me, and that's, you cut off your nose to spite your face, and then you become a bit of a dick, really.
Yeah.
So it's the little steps that I think are better.
Oh, I love that. Unfortunately, I can't. That's brilliant. That's a line that everybody should have written up in front of them. Brilliant. You talk about the trifecta, which is a very sad set of circumstances, which you can explain. But how did this trifecta change you and the expectations you put on yourself?
It was interesting because I was just kind of getting into my personal development journey, like really into it, when that trifecta hit. And it was within a 6-month period. My brother died, my father died, and my mother had a massive stroke and could no longer look after herself. And I was a single mum of a 6-year-old at the time. And I've got lots of half siblings, but it was kind of, I'm going to use the word again, the sensible thing for mum to move in with Adhd and I. And I kind of put everything on hold, like everything in the background. I was still learning and I was still doing, but whereas I'd take a chance in something in my business, I stopped because I had this other person to look after. But it also gave me this kind of renewed sense of we're not here forever, and I have to really prioritize my health, especially as a single mum. So there was good from it and a lot of bad from it. But it took, that trifecta was a 6-month period, and then it was another 6 years till my mother passed away. So she lived with us for another 6 years. And I refer to them as like my numb years. Like it was all just about the stuff I had to do to kind of keep that circle going. And everything was boiling away in the background. And then after mum passed away, it was just like, whoop, back she comes. Like, she's ready.
Yeah. Crikey. What a massive difference to your life as well. All of this was huge away, and then all of a sudden, did you feel like at that point you could do whatever you wanted and that you had been putting some things on hold, or was it what was it?
Interestingly, I definitely started taking more chances, and my first step was I said yes to going on to a TV show. And that was like, I hadn't been singing for a while, and it was a singing competition. They wanted me to be a judge, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Yep, sure, okay. And then I got into a whole other kind of, I did a post the other day about it. I did a whole lot of sexual exploration, and I kind of just, unleashed, I guess would be one of the words. I just wanted to keep kind of trying things. And I took more chances with clients, with what I wanted to do. And it was the first time I started speaking about, I don't want to be a speaker I used to speak about business systemization. My first business was 6 weeks to smart systems for solopreneurs. Like, that's alliteration gone wild. And it was the first time I was like, no, like, I'm here on this earth to be a personal development speaker. Like, that's it. And now I feel like I've got permission to do it. And I've done the hard slog almost of having those chapters to come out the other side and be able to talk about it.
But you're an entertainer.
Rather than just reading the books.
Yes, obviously. You're an entertainer, and you were born to entertain. And I've only been asking people 3 questions, but I had to ask you, what would your theme tune be for you?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I am what I am, and what I am needs no excuses.
That is perfect for you. Thank you for that little burst. I've got goosebumps. I love it. Sam, if there was one lesson that you would want every entrepreneur to know, what would it be?
I know it's going to sound so cliche, but as Nike says, just do it. I don't regret everything up till now, because I love my life. I love who I am, all that stuff. And it's all kind of made that. But I still kind of go, imagine if I'd done this years ago. Imagine if I'd had the guts or the gumption or whatever it is and taken those chances earlier on. So now I'm just go for it.
Brilliant. And I think that we all need to hear that on days, don't we? To just get up and do it.
I think we need to hear it every day.
Every day. But I love a Monday motivation. Surprisingly, what's your favorite business software?
Okay. It's a bit daggy. Sorry. It's a Trello. So it's project management software. And as I mentioned earlier, I used to work with people on business systems. So I've always been very systems orientated. And during the last 18 months with COVID, all the wheels fell off, all my systemization. I became this disorganized freak show. And I got diagnosed with ADHD a few months ago. And the knowing that all those systems and things I put in place had been these control-y things for me, because my mind was scattered and because I would forget things and lose things and do all that kind of stuff. And because I didn't have to follow those systems in COVID, I kind of just went, bleh. So I'm now relearning to focus my brain in that way with therapy and medication and using systems like Trello. I mean, you've got a team and it's all there, and I can literally go, I just brain dump it all, and then it gets assigned, or I put it on my calendar, and I'm like, okay, I know what I've got to do. Because if I don't, I'm like, nah.
For anyone listening on the podcast, please go and watch this on YouTube, because the way you just did brain dump is exactly how I think that people do it. Brain dump. It's this brain explosion that just happens. Yeah. I'm looking at your bookcase and I'm absolutely loving the color coordination behind you. It is amazing. I'm so grateful for your chapter. I think that so many people are going to read it and appreciate the vulnerability, but also the fact that everybody has some kind of background, and what you've done and come through and achieved, and how you've turned that into this extraordinary life. I've loved watching it, Sam. Thank you so much for being involved.
Thank you. My absolute pleasure. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much for watching the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast. If you've liked what you've seen today, then please make sure that you click the subscribe button to this channel to see more inspiration and motivation as more of these stories keep coming out. And if you want even more, click on the link below this video and go and have a look at the series of books Shine On You Crazy Daisy, and get even more inspiration and motivation for you and your business.